Effective fundraising from the donor's perspective. Hi, I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz. This is the first day from the Fundraising School, and I'm delighted to welcome Byron and Linn Braun. Byron and Linn are philanthropists located in the state of Indiana, and as our school has had the wonderful opportunity to get to know them, we're very interested on what they can teach us about effective fundraising. And Byron and Linn, thanks so much for being with us on the Fundraising Schools podcast.
Yes, glad to be here.
Pleasure to be with you today, Bill.
Yeah, so I just want to ask you, and either individually or as a couple, your philanthropic journey. Did this start as children? Did this start when the two of you came together as a couple? What is your history with charitable giving throughout your life?
Well, I can just say it started basically when my older brother Charlie and I were supporting political endeavors at an early age, like in third and fourth grade. So we went door to door, soliciting for a mayor, senators, and stuff like that. And so all through high school, it blossomed into student council. And then it became at IPFW here in Fort Wayne on the student senate. And then in our adult lives as a married couple, it's just grown and grown and grown and grown and grown. But I think in my case, and Linn can speak for herself, it started about third grade for me, about getting involved and doing things for others.
And I would say we've both always been cheerful givers, as the Bible says, and we followed examples from our parents who both gave back of time and talent, and we've just continued that throughout our active adult life.
So modeling what you've seen from your family, with your family, spiritual explanation of being able to do so cheerfully, all of these reasons adding up to your charitable giving. Linn, can you estimate about how many nonprofits do you and Byron support together?
Oh my goodness. I have a lengthy list myself that I do personally. We have joint ventures. I'd say maybe 10 to 12.
Yeah, I would think so. We have joint interests together, and then I have a separate interest, and Linn has hers as well. But I say 10 or 12, and on that point, I think one of the thoughts that I would interject here is if your list gets too long, it gets diluted, and so maybe your list should be 10 or 12, and then focus on those and know those entities the best you can.
Well, this already raises a fascinating question, and it's highlighted by our research at the Women's Philanthropy Institute, where the two of you do some of your charitable giving together, and yet you also do some of your charitable giving individually. So if I'm a fundraiser and I meet a couple, a household like yours, how do I know who to talk to?
Good question. I would say on what the issue is.
And who has a personal connection to that issue. Maybe if it's stronger with me, I might take over and lead. Or if it's a connection Byron has, he might take over and lead the giving.
So my understanding, please go ahead.
I was going to say, as a business owner too, we are solicited daily. And that helps to politely deflect. What I usually will do is say, we support A, B, C, and D. Our plate is full. We focus this. Thank you very much for your asking, but we have our endeavors already selected. So that helps as a business owner too, because we're solicited daily.
And so if I'm understanding you correctly, Linn, you have issues you are particularly passionate about. Byron, same thing, and that list is distinct. And then together, there's a whole different group of causes that you're passionate about. So one takeaway from this conversation, if I'm understanding you correctly, is I need to do my research. I need to do my homework. I need to observe what you're giving to together and what you're giving to separately. Would that be good advice for our fundraisers in the audience?
Absolutely. I feel like you need a personal connection to me or to Byron to begin the process of identifying how we might be able to reach out to help you.
Like, for example, in my case, I started the Fortin Children's Foundation to help prevent child abuse. And that is one of my passions that's separate from Linn's. And in her case, You want to mention a couple?
Sure. I am passionate about helping with my church. I am part of the Arts and Environment Committee, and I do all of the creation and installation of banner work. And I also began a program at our local YMCA with raised garden beds. So it's just whatever connection you make to us. If we feel we can be a benefit, we certainly try.
If I could ask you then, with your wide variety of charitable giving, more than a dozen organizations, if we think about each of you individually and then wonderfully together as a couple, what really stands out as a best practice? Do you even have a story that you remember, either individually or together, where this organization did things correctly, this fundraiser did things correctly? Does anything stand out in your philanthropic careers, or like, man, I wish more fundraisers did it that way?
A whole bunch of them for me, but I'd have to use Humane Fort Wayne, which we both are. That's a collective effort of ours. Humane Fort Wayne has an amazing director. They have an amazing website. They're very polite in their requests. They're extremely flexible with us. So, like, for example, we're in the process of creating something right now with them. And they're carving out a niche for us that we can fund ongoing. So I would say flexibility, be sensitive to the resources of the person giving you the money, and be sensitive of where they want to go. And like in Humane Fort Wayne, you would agree with.
And I would also say having a personal connection. We now feel fully invested in Humane Fort Wayne because of the connection with the director, the staff, what we've been able to learn about their organization.
And for sure. It helps to have a great director, by the way.
So personal connection, learn what you really care about. And then as the fundraiser learns about you, to be adaptable and flexible to your philanthropic priorities. And as long as that's consistent, of course, with the nonprofit's mission, to be able to have that work. And in our major gift fundraising course, we instruct fundraisers. This does not happen quickly. The type of relationship you just described needs to happen over time. To use the example that you just cited, how long has it taken for this wonderful nonprofit to get to know both of you, to know your philanthropic heartbeat, to hear those ideas, to create that niche? We always get that question, like, how long does this take? So we say it's different in every situation. What's it been like with this particular nonprofit?
Well, in Humane Fort Wayne case, we were good friends with the mayor and his wife, and this is his sister who is the director. And so we knew her from past interactions. But it's been about 2 years with Humane Fort Wayne to really get it up to running. And we're almost to the finality of it. And we'll probably get this out in the next 4 or 5 months, probably.
I would say it's been at least 2 years in building on that. And then they're allowing us to step outside the parameter and create another entity that we're working on right now. So their flexibility and letting us direct money specifically to what we feel is important has been just a huge part of the process for us.
And I'm going to add in on that one is that all organizations have their list of needs, okay? And in this particular case, there's a need, and we're going to zero in on that need and run with it and create something special for that specific need for Humane Fort Wayne.
Well, that's a wonderful example for our audience to learn from. And again, a question we often receive from fundraisers is, how do I know when the time has arrived to make the philanthropic request? And I just heard from both of you that we're getting close. You're narrowing in. We're getting ready. From a donor's perspective, is there a point when you reach, like, you're ready to be asked? The cultivation has happened. The meetings have happened. You know you've been heard. You know that the nonprofit is forming a relationship with you around your philanthropic values and motivations. Do you just get a sense when you're saying, like, gee, I hope the next meeting is when they make the ask? Or how do you know when that time is right?
I think in our case, we're probably more proactive than your typical donor.
Exactly.
So I think in our case, we seek them out. like in the relationship with Indiana University. That goes back many, many years. But we sought your school out, the Lilly School out specifically. And so I think in our case, we're more proactive. So I don't think I have a good answer for that one. Do you?
No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Linn, have you found yourself, or you and Byron saying, hey, we're ready to hear specific ideas? I mean, does it get that proactive for the two of you?
It does, but many times as Byron said, we're seeking them out because we have an idea or we feel a passion for something and we just move forward. We don't wait sometimes for the ask.
Well, and we're so glad you found us at the Indiana University Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, which houses the Fundraising School. The Brauns, generous supporters of our bachelor's and master's students, and building an endowment that will last until the earth ends to continue to support our students. We're so grateful for your generosity. Let me ask you this question then. So the ask has happened. The gift has been made. How would you describe how well nonprofits do or don't do with follow-up stewardship after the gift is made, staying in touch with you in ways that don't involve asking for the next gift, just staying in communication? Is that a strength that you see with nonprofits? Not as much? What has been your experience?
I'd say staying in communication with us. In the past with the YMCA, I began the gardening program, and then I found out they were building a natural playscape that they were opening up to the entire community. I went to the director of the Y and said, I'm interested. I know Byron will be interested. How can we help? So they'd not even made the ask, but they had put the information out there in the community that this was happening. And so we proactively went and said, what can we fund? We know a big major hospital organization is sponsoring the entire event, but we want something that we can do also.
And I think on that front too, and not that everybody is perfect, okay? I think a lot of philanthropics feel an email is enough or a postcard is enough. And maybe that is good for $100 gifts, $500 gifts and stuff like that. But when you're talking, larger dollars here, it's that personal glue, it's that personal connectivity that is extremely important. It's not taking it to lunch. It could be a phone call. It could be something as simple as that versus an email or a note. And it's nice to get letters with a handwritten thing on it, and those are all good too, okay? But if you want the warm connectivity and you're looking for $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, those kind of dollars, or $200,000, that personal touch, I think, is second to none.
It's about relationship.
Yes. Like if I feel that if I called the dean of your school, I think he would get back with me. I feel that, okay? I feel that Jessica Humane would do the same. I feel the people at the Y would do the same. It's that personal touch.
Highly personalized. Doesn't have to be a gift. Doesn't have to be a meal. It can be. That's wonderful. But that highly personalized communication, and I can assure both of you, that's actually backed up, you won't be surprised, in the philanthropic research. We have a course on donor stewardship, and the research bears that out. Donors want to know that they're noticed, that they're felt, that they're seen, that it's that ongoing personal touch. You've given us so much wisdom that we can apply to our fundraising. Now, I have to ask you, and leave out the names, right? So we can just keep things anonymous, like something you're like, oh, goodness, here's just a common error fundraisers make. Or there was this one time, I can't believe they did that. And again, that we're learning from positive examples, as you've given us throughout this conversation. But I'm just wondering, you're like, man, here we go again. The fundraiser is doing this. Mistakes that we should avoid. Does anything come to mind? And I'm not looking to out any nonprofits or get anybody in trouble. Just kind of generally, is there some common things that you see there?
Go ahead.
For me personally, if there's no connection, I might toss it in my outbox or just overlook it. I have to feel that connection either to the mission, to the person, then I'm more willing to listen. But if I have no connection, it's hard for me to get on board.
And I think too, and this is just a generic comment, okay? Sometimes directors or president of a group, and I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I'm going to say pawn. It's terrible to say. Will pawn you off on an assistant. Okay. Mr. Jones would like to talk to you about this, or this is what he or she is thinking. Okay. And again, that might be for the $500 things, but when you're asking $50,000, $100,000 kind of things, you should have an assistant do it for you. In other words, I don't know how else to say it. Okay. It's that continuation of high touch. And if you let that high touch falter or get behind, then that's an error in judgment, in my opinion.
Well, thank you for that. And again, in our major gift course, we definitely remind fundraisers, donors want to see themselves in who they're working with at the nonprofit. And if somebody's a business owner, they expect to hear from the dean. They expect to hear from the president and CEO because that are the folks you typically are working with. And something that's to be expected. The assistant can contact your office to schedule it, maybe, but that conversation needs to happen with both of you directly. Thank you so much for giving us this peek behind the curtain from the donor's perspective and for all that you do to make the world a better place. Byron and Linn Braun, thank you for being with us on the Fundraising Schools podcast. And again, the Brauns are supporters of our academic programs at the Indiana University Lilly Family School Philanthropy, bachelor's, master's to doctoral degrees. You can learn about those through the Fundraising School, our professional development arm of our college. And we're providing 25 different courses that lead to 5 different certificates. We're in person in 10 U.S. cities and, of course, in the United States and around the world online, either courses that are live or recorded. We can do customized training just for your nonprofit. We've done it in their home county there in Allen County through the Community Foundation and anywhere in the United States or around the world with this customized training. We can do quarterly webinars for you, these weekly podcasts, and of course, all of our information gathered in our textbook, Achieving Excellence in Fundraising, the book now out in its 5th edition. Where do I go for information? Online, really easy. go.iu.edu/TFRS for the Fundraising School. I'm grateful as always for our Emmy Award winner, producer Mike Anthony, doing a great job for us today. Jennifer Boffman, CFRM, also producing. I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz. Now you are now more fully informed on this first day from the Fundraising School.